Makenshi critiques to Makenshi Dick Rad's your favorite anime. Welcome to a special Q&A. This is the Q&A I promised I'd do, which kind of acts as a semi-review, my review of the show, thoughts, opinions. But I thought it might be easier so that I don't miss anything that someone might want to hear from me, to answer the questions that were left on the final finale live reaction to episode 20 and 21. So I'm just going to go through these and the questions that people ask. Some of these might be related to Avatar, some of them might be for people who are watching my reactions who are asking me stuff that's tangential or related, but not necessarily to do with Avatar. One of the first questions I got was by Wings of Shu, and he goes, how much of the series was sport just from the show being popular for so long before doing a watch response? You might notice my eyes are a bit tired, but because I'm not having to focus on anything, I thought it'd be fine for me to record. But I'm still, because of the light, the lamp, it's a bit, my eyes are a bit sensitive. But it's not going to strain me. Hardly any of it was spoiled. The closest it came to getting spoiled is I was in Sheriana Reacts. I don't know if any of you guys watch Sheriana Reacts things. I was in a Facebook group. I'm not even active there. I just joined, right? Because it was a Maki Khan's group, or she was invited to that group, and she was reacting to Avatar, and I phased it out. I can't remember her thumbs or anything like that. Once I started it, I had to leave that group or turn off notifications, so it wasn't spoiled that way. As far as when it was airing on Nickelodeon, I remember back in 2000 and mid-2000s when it was airing, where I was aware of it. It was not something I was interested in. I think I was busy watching other shows, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe even Pokemon or anime. That's probably the early days of where I got into anime. So nothing was really spoiled. Let's go to the next question. Mimi K asks, some of these I've already answered on that video, but some of them I haven't. Mimi K asks, dang, are you open to animated shows and or movies other than anime? I don't do TV show live reactions unless they're one-offs. The closest I came to doing a whole show was fucking Twin Peaks season 3, but even then I missed 2 or 3 episodes because no one was watching it, no one was commenting. So I leave the TV shows out of it. Films I'd already do. I would already do anime films, but I don't react to live action movies, so I'm not gonna be doing live action movies. As far as animated shows that aren't animes go, I'll be open to them if there's a case can be made, or people can make the case for me doing them, and there's a demand for them and people will watch them, and it's not something that would interfere too much with what I'm already doing, because I don't want to be fully dedicated to that. So while I did Avatar, I was doing anime as well. I think some Hispanic guy says Desde Cancun, Mexico, saludos. I guess he's saying greetings from Mexico. Bunch of comments here. Someone, Holy Vega asks, what episode do you think they could have written better, or was there something you thought they should have polished? Also, is this in live action even possible? So he's asking 2 things. One second was my opinion. I'd say if they could polish anything, a lot of people argue that the episode where Aang lies to the 2 tribes, like he makes up this tall tale about about their ancestors, the founders, and the dispute that they were under and stuff, and Aang pretended to know him, and he gave them this story. I forgot the details, but I remember that vividly, right? I actually like that. I'm one of the few people, I guess, that actually really dug that. I thought that was such a bold episode, like morally such a bold episode, but it had the intended consequence, right, of resolving that dispute and getting them to work together. I thought if anything could be written better, I really do feel that Ozai should have had facets. He really should have. I feel like if Sozin had facets, you know what I mean? Ozai needed just a little bit, because even Azula got something, like a scrap of something to do with her mum, right? But my man didn't get nothing. I feel they. I know why. Well, no, actually, he should have, because then it would have been fine. Aang sparing him. I would have been fine with Aang just completely killing him, because he had no development. But he had no development, and Aang spared him, and I'm like, I don't really care. And even his, and I'm not even sure if he was repentant at all. I felt like we needed more time with Ozai later, to just to see where his mindset is, whether he's repentant. What was the deal going on with him? And somebody mentioned in the comments that the comics kind of tie up loose ends, and for me, and things that I had unresolved. So I'm still very much aware of that in the periphery, but I'm not promising to do reactions to those. I need my eyes to heal, so I'm not taking on any more than I really need. Epic conclusion, bittersweet that I'm done. Yeah. Okay. Best anime show. Lots of thankful comments, man. So I really appreciate it. I'm getting to read them right now, man. Really great comments here. What else do we have? Sympathy for Azula. There's a running theme here about, do Korra sympathize for Azula? I love Azula. I love Azula. People can understand where I'm coming from. I just don't see it. I just don't see what they see. I know she's broken. I know she's traumatized and mad at the end. But they could have. There was something there. I'll agree. There was something there for Azula that they could have played with a bit more, but they didn't. I think that's one place I'd criticize as well, particularly. We actually did it. What journey? Great reaction. You guys should check out these comments. Lots of great comments here. Greatest American cartoon. A lot of these are explanations of just people justifying their opinions on things. This will be edited out. Okay, so Lane asks me, Lane, this is after the anime, Lane. I love the Firebending Masters because Dragons speaks for itself. Favorite fights in the series: Zuko versus Zhao, part 1. You gotta go back to the first season, check out these fights. They don't have much animation, but choreography is fucking good. I'm guessing, as far as questions, I really just want to know, what's your favorite Zuko-centered episode? Which characters outside of Zuko and Iroh would you like to see a spin-off series of? And what episode is the most memorable to you from each season? Man, this is hard because of my eye issue, I haven't been able to research it, but I'm going to try and think off the top of my head that I can remember. So, first part of this question is, my favorite Zuko-centered episode was, first, the earliest one I can remember was not actually seeing the flashback about why Zuko parted ways with Ozai and why he was banished. It was the Blue Spirit episode where he breaks out Aang from Zhao's. I just loved that. I felt as though the Blue Spirit is something which they could really have capitalized on. That was one of my earliest favorite Zuko-centered episodes. I liked everything. I think I might have even said this in the show, but everything between Iroh and Zuko, I loved everything, every single thing. The only time I didn't like it is when fucking Iroh was behind bars and Zuko was acting like conflicted and shit like that. Not that I'm saying objectively I didn't like it. I just didn't like where that character was in that space and time. I feel. And actually, there's another criticism as well where I feel like Iroh should have deserved more of a presence in that finale. For Iroh to be more speaking lines, to be by his side, it really just ended on Aang in his Buddha, Dalai Lama garb and the ceremony and all that shit. I feel as though Iroh maybe should have deserved a little bit more, like a parting gesture. He's been such a heart and soul of this show. I feel like it maybe linger a bit more on him. Other Zuko episodes, I think the episode where him and they after they've become vigilantes, after they've cut off their ponytails, they come across They do some questionable things for survival. That particular section of season 2 I really love. As far as Zuko-centric episodes, season 2 for me was the strongest as a whole. Just as a whole for Zuko. Outside of characters outside of Zuko and Iroh, would you see spin-off series of? Spin-off for characters. I said that I want to see Iroh prequel, but any other characters would I want to see? I would love to see. Boomy. I love to see stuff with Boomy about how Boomy became king. He was just a nut job, little nut job scallywag back in the day. I would love to see how Boomy rose to power. You know what I mean? I feel there's so much more to be explored there. Prequel there. Episode is the most memorable to me from each season. The first one in season 1 was when Aang comes across the Wind Temple and he sees the body of that Baker guy. He's one of his senseis, right? And there's bodies of a Fire Nation guy, just skeletons. It's like a graveyard. That was one of my early first episodes I really liked from season 1. For season 1, I really liked the. I really liked the finale. I really liked the finale for season 1. What else was there? And season 2, I think. What sticks out in season 2? It was a Zuko show through and through. That was season 2 was. It's hard, man. For a show this consistently good, it's hard. But for me, I think I believe the Blue Spirit. No, the Blue Spirit was season 1. I think that was episode 15. People wanted me to like 13, but I like 15. Season 2, I liked all of season 2, but I can't really think of one particular standout episode. For season 3, I had a bunch. I love Bloodbending for Katara, the Halloween special episode. I liked a few of the early episodes. Well, actually, the fact that the Ozai versus Aang is now for me on the level of Chimera and Arc. That episode alone, the fight between Ozai and Aang is up there for me in season 3. Most definitely. But you guys will probably know from watching my reactions. You can remind me what ones I might have missed out or not said. But those ones stick out to me in my mind particularly. Like even now they stick out, you know what I mean? Yeah, obviously I had to take a break reliving this. Okay, Somba asks me, I'm curious, does Uncle Iroh rank in your favorite character? He does now. He certainly does now, man. Korra's next. No, people assume Korra's next. I'll address Korra at the end. Legend of Korra. You know, considering so many people asking for Korra, I might look into it, but I'm not sure. My eyes need to heal. I can't take any more things on, so. After the break, Legend. See, everyone's assuming it's Legend of Korra. Like, it's natural for you to think, for you guys to assume that, because I love this. And just for sheer curiosity alone, I might 2 days or something. Lots of very flattering comments about my understanding of this show. 37 people like that. That's crazy. Really beautiful questions here. There's not many more questions, so let me just get to. Now that I've answered all these questions, I've literally looked at every single comment now. There's not been a question among them. This is why I speak a lot in my reactions. Some people don't like that. Some people don't like me speaking over it, especially when I'm doing English dub. But if I didn't speak when you know, if I didn't speak every time someone spoke, I wouldn't be saying anything. So generally speaking, I feel as though for me, the one really consistent thread in this show is Zuko's Prince's journey. Even the final moment, when you look at it, when you look really closely at the final moment, even the final moment in terms of the becoming of someone, it stops. The fight was Aang versus Ozai, but what was born from that was Zuko's rise ascendance to this position. So if you look closely at that final moments, it really is Zuko's moments. And it's Aang as a support or a side guy in support of Zuko. You know what I mean? Zuko decided, I'm going to support Aang. And then in the end, now Aang is a support figure to him. It's all about Zuko, because only Zuko is now in charge of the most fucking powerful military force, powerful nation in all of that world, right? So I feel as though the Prince's journey arc was consistent. And I feel that's why I really respond to. I really like the Prince's journey stuff. I don't have to close this light, so it might be a bit dark for this video, but it's just really tearing my eyes out, people. I think that was the issue. And I would say overall review that season 1 is the, I don't mean to say this disparagingly, because season 1 is strong, but 2 and 3 are something else. I think maybe 2 and 3 for me are on par, on equal to each other, because I just reminded myself about how much development Zuko gets from season 1 to 2. They even made a joke about that. He's just a pouty, angry, grumpy guy, like when they're doing the play in that getaway that they were at, the Fire Nation getaway, and it showed you that, yeah, he was very much that in the season 1, but 2 completely reshaped him. He was cutting his ties from being this pouty, honor, that guy, to finding himself, you know, journeying through, having experiences that he would not normally have had, or not necessarily have, because I feel as though Fire Nation is very insulated. It was actually a blessing in disguise that he found himself in the predicament he did. I feel as though I didn't want them to retire the Blue Spirit character. I didn't want them to retire, but after a while, I feel as though that character got retired out of necessity. But I feel as though they shouldn't have. I feel the Adventures of Blue Spirit or something like that. I feel that's such a great persona of his. I felt they could have done more with it. Maybe even have a character adopt that mantle and all that stuff. I even toyed with the idea of that kid. He was training with a sword. Like, just impart the mantle onto him. You know what I mean, or some shit like that. I wished. I don't know, man. I always get a Batman vibe from him, like a young Bruce Wayne vibe from Zuko. So I've always felt that that's what they should have done. But you can tell I'm fucking talking about Zuko so much because I fucking love that character. I thought Aang was brilliant. I initially thought that Aang's gonna have a very generic Messiah, center of the universe type arc throughout the show, but he had a really, really bumpy, varied fucking arc dealing with, you know, his anger issues, his need to separate himself from the people he loves to accomplish what he needs to. I would say there were moments where, like, I felt they could have, where he was at Guru Pathik and he didn't finish the training. I feel as though I felt that there was more to see there. I thought there was more to see there. I felt like they need maybe a little bit more of an exploration about, because I felt like Aang was making a lot of mistakes late game. He still hadn't come to terms with his ability avatar state. And I feel like maybe the avatar state needed a little bit more development. Because when he went into that Ozai fight, I know he'd formed his resolve. I know he learned his lessons. But I feel like he didn't get that training. You know what I mean? Like he learned the fire training that he needed to round out his abilities. But I feel like he needed maybe the Guru Path more of that spiritual. But it was, again with Zuko, it was the same thing. They learned this themselves. They learned it through experience and the hard way. It wasn't something that was honor was not given to Zuko. He restored his own honor. Even if he broke himself away from Guru Pathic training, it's something he came to discover himself, like, and a power that he drew upon. You know what I mean? To protect the people. Like, people, you shouldn't divorce yourself from people. You're doing it for them. And somebody told him that. I think Aang, when he was on a spirit journey or something, somebody told him. I think when he was speaking to one of the old Avatar reincarnations, someone said, you're doing it for the people. You know what I mean? So he was able to reconcile this idea about not distancing himself, becoming Avatar state. You know what I mean? But doing it for them and reconciling that and the people he loves. and he has to love everyone, but that doesn't mean he has to exclude Katara or this, that. I thought that was brilliant as an arc. I'm being very broad here, because I don't want to nitpick specifics. You can go back and watch my reactions, and look at what my thoughts were specifically at those scenarios, right? One thing I really, really fucking love, I want to bring this up because I brought it up in the reaction, is this idea that when they were doing the Ran and Char training in that civilization that looked like the Aztecs, they were told, and I think it even harkened back to something Iroh said when he was drawing, I think it was with Toph. No, Toph was Zuko, when he was teaching Zuko, I forgot which one, it was Zuko. And I think it was around the time when he was teaching him lightning bending or deflecting, right? He says that all elements are parts of a whole. That's why he learns from water bending techniques to hone his own abilities. So these elements all form a whole. So that moment where the Avatar had learned all abilities and he became like an atom. First I thought it was a planet with his own gravity, but it's like an atom almost, the shape, and he was using all elements together. That was the culmination of what that means. What that means, that the Avatar is supposed to represent a whole. He's not meant to represent nations, fire, wind, earth, water. He's very much I hate to say secular. I mean, he's for everyone, and it's the culmination of the whole. Like, you know, it's a very very no, I wouldn't say egocentric, but it's about divorcing from the ego, which it draws upon that as well, very much so, like Buddhist, and maybe even like Hindu kind of like philosophies and stuff, and it fits in with that, and I like that, the fact that they've drawn from Eastern culture that way. I would say Azula is a weak point for me, but she was a great villain, but she was weak because as much as people tell me she's great, she's amazing, read between the lines, this, that, there wasn't enough there for me. Iroh, MVP of the show, no doubt about it, straight up MVP. I feel like, you know what, now come to mention it, I want a prequel, or I want a show called The White Lotus. This organization about the White Lotus, something focused directly on them, how their hand plays a part in events, and what goes on behind the scenes. I would have wanted that. I think what else would I wanted? Yeah, so I'm just spitballing here because I think that's the best way to do this video. Let's talk about something people have been bringing up. Metal bending. Some of you guys in the comments, because I'm going to be addressing your comments even if I didn't read it out here. We're mentioning you want to see more metal bending, you want to see more blood bending, Korra, right? I feel those are great assets. I think Toph did put, and I mentioned this, Toph seems to have got the least amount of development in this show. She's just a lovable character. She had her development was front loaded, and then later on she just became a support kind of figure. She didn't really get much development. Like she was living almost vicariously through other people, their experiences, but she was the level head. She always brought that out of the box thinking or impartiality to a situation, with characters who hate each other so deeply, who love each other so deeply, who have such grudges. She was the one character who didn't share those experiences, so I thought that's one thing that was great about her. She was very much the audience can relate to her. There's very few characters in the show that the audience can relate to as much as you can. Toph, I know she's blind, she's a little girl, she's powerful and all that shit, but I feel as though she's young. Her age plays a lot into the way they've dealt with Toph. I think I'm about to wrap up. I just want to talk about things I haven't talked about. See, as far as ranking the seasons goes, I would say, oh man, 2 and 3 are gonna be hard. 2 equals 3 greater than 1. 2 equals 3 greater than 1 for me. I didn't think I'd say that, but it harkens back to something someone said in one of the live premieres, that for them 2 and 3 are on par with them. A lot of people had issues with the episodic stuff at the beginning of 3, especially with the stakes so high. But as I said, I feel as though they're so confident in the storytelling in this show that that you could afford to have them, and you needed them. You can't just stop development, you know what I mean, just because the plot kicks in, you know what I mean. So some characters could have needed a more. I would have liked to see more Boomy. I really love that character early on. I wanted to maybe see more Haru. Some of these side characters who came back, I wanted to see more. Jet had a great arc in this show. A really, really great redemption arc. But even towards the end, man, like, pitiful way to go out for that guy. Really pitiful way. Haru could have had more. Some of the support characters that came back could have had more. I felt like we... that dude in the wheelchair from the Wind Temple, I feel as though they had their one-off episodes and then they just came back as window dressing almost. They would just stay in the background. Even in the hub area they were in, when Mr. fucking Combustion Man was attacking them, we forget that those guys were getting brought there, like a hub area. Like, you just save, like, it's like Dishonored. You save a character from a mission, he comes into this hub area. It was almost like that. And I feel as though they, as much as they played their parts, maybe we could have seen a little bit more of them. But when you're juggling so many characters and you need to give Ty Lee fucking Azula development, I can understand why, you know, those guys take a backseat. This show doesn't do side characters as well as it does an ensemble, a giant ensemble of main characters, and they all get a lot of great development. What else? Some contentious issues I'm trying to think of that people have brought up that might be worth ruminating on. I might not edit this, man, because my eyes just wouldn't be up to editing, cutting, chopping. Let's see. Just give me a 30-second rule, man. Otherwise, fuck, I'll forget. Man, I just want to see these characters again. See, as great as Korra is, these characters, I want to see Aang grow into old age. I want to know that Aang and Zuko live out their lives in harmony and make the world better. Korra might deal with that, I'm sure. Korra's a time skip, that's all I know. Korra's a bit of a time skip, and she's like a future reincarnation. I know that much. But as long as it tells me what's happened in the time between, I'll be happy with that, I think. And I think now's the time to bring up Korra, actually. You know what? Now's the time to bring up Korra. I was spitballing. But I answered some of the questions. I brought up some things I love about this show. As far as the rating go, my rating's a 9 out of 10, as I told people. 9 out of 10. Korra's not on the table yet. One, because it wasn't on the table anyway. Because there were mixed opinions on it. But I love this show so much. My curiosity is going to get the better of me. But my eyes are going to have to heal. My eyes are going to have to heal. So it's going to be a while. Please stick around on the channel. And please, if there's anything that interests you, check that out. Because I do encourage you. Anime's got great stories to tell. Legend of the Galactic Heroes, great stories to tell. And the guy who actually contributed to, or donated for me to start Avatar, he was pushing for Avatar. He's a big fan of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. You guys will love that show. I recommend you check that out. So Korra, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Let me just get off this, the healing that I need for my eyes and you know, the fatigue that I suffer from this kind of thing. So yeah, please be sure to stick around, and Korra might come, but just stick around, because it would be such a shame for me to say goodbye. As far as the comics go, I'm planning to do initial reactions to the motion comics, the motion versions of the Avatar comics. So I might do that. But recently what's happened is Article 13, but it's not called Article 13, it's 17 now, some shit, got passed in Europe. Now, even though we're going through Brexit and we'll be out of Europe soon, I don't know how that will work with copyright strikes. So I'm going to have to be ultra careful with my channel going forward as far as these things go. Because YouTube will enforce it now. It won't just be companies. YouTube will take a hard line against people. I hope we back out of Europe and it doesn't apply to us. But I've got to be careful. Next couple of months are going to be dicey, right? But stay tuned, man. And I really fucking love this show. I'm glad you guys watched me. You're a great community. I love you guys. I love your supportive comments. You've been very flattering to me. We've had arguments. We've had back and forths. Yeah, I mean, you guys were very enthusiastic. But stay tuned, I say, for Korra. And if there's any questions, burning questions you have that I didn't answer,
please leave them in the comments below, and I'll try and reply to you individually if you didn't miss your opportunity to do it. So I'm guessing those of you who asked me the questions were on that final reaction or in the video, and I asked you guys to leave it. But so I'm just trying to think of any extraneous questions some of you guys might ask. Favorite characters, I've already answered those. Least favorite, what they could do better, done that. It's a testament that it's a 9 out of 10 show. That it does very little bad. I feel as though the humor has been on point. One thing I want to mention is the humor was so nicely woven into what's going on. You start the show with with levity, but seriousness, and tonally, you promise people something, and you be consistent with that straight through. And I love that. Even in the most serious, dire moments, there's comedy there. That's how you mix it. Gintama's very much like, here's a comedy right now. We're doing a comedy thing. We're about to do focus right now. This is comedy. This is serious. This is comedy. The delineation is there. You know what I mean? And this is just flows. It's just great. And that's something that's very, very much something that Western shows have. Well, Western anime has it too. Shonen has it particularly. But Shonen maybe has it cranked up a little balmy. Like, the tonal shift is a little too drastic sometimes. A little too drastic. Because when they're serious, they usually don't want to undercut it with humor. But the way they mingle kind of humor into this is amazing. And it fits in with those characters. It never betrays the characters. Even Zuko's dry humor, straight man humor, was amazing. He never descended into balminess. Like, he didn't just smoke a joint one episode and like did some crazy tangent shit, you know what I mean? And he softened, but the transition was not jarring. He didn't go from serious to I'm just chill and all that. Like, you know what I mean? The transition was great for these characters. Aang really came into his own. I feel Aang for me was actually stronger later on. And Zuko was always strong from the beginning, but he just became stronger. Aang became really, really strong later on. They gave him more questionable grey areas to deal in, you know what I mean? Katara is actually very, very great character. I feel I don't mention her quite enough. I didn't expect it to like Katara so much, but Katara for me is such a rock for this show. Like, it would be undone if she wasn't there. She's like the glue for me that holds it together. She holds all of it together. I think Sokka even, but more than anyone, Katara holds it together. And as far as female characters go, she was fucking amazing. Amazing fucking character. I would like to see a spin-off with Toph, now come to mention it, where she grows up and invents metal bending and passes it on to people. But we'll wait and see for Korra. So thank you guys for watching, man. Bittersweet to say goodbye to the show like this. I don't know if I've got a podcast planned or something like that, but I'm tired, guys. My eyes are tired. That was the last big thing I could do, man. That finale for Avatar. My eyes are still very tired. But I thought, you know what, let me just put this out there and hope you guys appreciate it. Any other questions, leave it below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe from me on Twitter. Details below. Backup channel, very important because I back up my Avatar reactions there in case anything should happen here. So one day you may find them there. Click that icon at the bottom right to subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. Peace.